It was the dead hour past noon. It stood in the valley where the snow had been clean that morning. It had taken a woman of the Cimmerian hills, and it had taken her man, in the sight of 300 who could not reach them. Conan looked at it and swore nothing. Çekim beside him swore nothing. They had neither of them the stomach left for oaths. What rose in the Cimmerian was not the hot thing that carries a man over a shield wall. It was older and colder, and a long time gathering. The tiredness of one who has watched too many such things climb out of the dark, and knows there is nothing to be done with them, nothing argued, nothing paid, only ended.
Cimmeria. Quid facies? Quid facies?
The Cimmerian and Yasmela moved as one mind. The thing in the valley did not fall. It was taken out of the world, and the world closed over the place where it had stood, as though nothing had ever stood there. The clans saw it, elders and boys, chiefs and small bloods, all of them saw. The old had heard such tales from their fathers,
and had not believed their fathers. The young had never known the world held room for such a thing. And they saw more than that. They saw a man their own country had cast out, put fire back into blood that had forgotten it was ever warm. Conan did not wait to see who came after him, neither did Çekim, neither did Morlana nor Zunara, already down the slope while the ash still hung. Brak did not turn to look for his own. Vara did not turn to look for hers. A Cimmerian who had not surrendered to the world was not watching from that ledge.
Zunara came down the line to where Yasmela stood. The Karan girl had not spoken since the hollow. She had watched the clans tear at each other and had said nothing, and she was saying nothing now. Zunara had seen the whole of it. A kingdom burned to a floor of grey, 20 men left of an empire, and this one had stood the corpse of Karan back on its feet and taken the weight of it onto her own shoulders without once putting it down. There was a hardness set in her that Zunara had seen in only one other woman's face, and that had been long ago, and the woman was her mother. She took Yasmela's hand, the one that carried the twin serpents, and turned it palm up in her own, and set something into it.
You are not alone.
Yasmela looked down at what lay in her hand.
You are your mother and your father both, Kaurani. Take the soul stone. There are 1,000 sorcerers in it, and among them hundreds of sorcerer kings. Feed it to the serpents of Valusia.
Her fingers closed Yasmela's over it.
You will know the hour when it comes, and if I fall, my soul goes into the shard with the rest of them.
Yasmela raised her eyes to her. There was something in Zunara's face she had seen before, and it took her a moment to place where. Her father had looked at her that way. That was all. A parent looking at a child. Conan had seen it done. He knew that stone. He had seen it in the dark under the tower in the scorched wastes, in the place where the blade of Duma lay waiting for a hand, where the Unmaker had called out to him, and he had answered without knowing what he was answering. She had gone down there with him. He had come up carrying a sword. She had come up carrying that. He knew, too, what it had cost her to keep, and what it cost her now to give. Zunara felt his eyes and turned her head. She said nothing. Morlana came up out of the smoke with Çekim at her shoulder, Vara and Brak close behind. 7 now stood about the blackened scar where the Unmaker had undone what had risen from the valley, and for a space none spoke. Morlana broke the silence.
I have stood in places like this before. Not this one. Others wearing its face. Peoples who called themselves the last free men. I've always found them much the same. Counting old debts beside a fire while the enemy came up beneath their feet. You are not remarkable. You carried iron to a council to settle which of you was owed a cow, and 300 of you stood in the snow while a thing fed upon 2 of your own, each clan waiting for another to move. It did not even hate you. It came, it fed, it looked upon you. That was all it needed to do. And yet...
A pause.
The wind took the smoke from the scar.
The blood still has fire in it. Not because you kept it. None of you willed it. None of you earned it. It simply failed to go out. Whatever your fathers were, they left something in the marrow that is not finished burning.
Her crimson eyes went to the Cimmerian. She did not name him.
It takes very little. One man who does not wait to be told.
Then her gaze returned to the blackened earth.
But do not mistake what comes next for a hunt. The thing we go to find is looking for us also. It has been looking a long while, and it is patient in a way for which you have no word. It will not run from you. It will be waiting where the dark is thickest, and it will have chosen the ground.
She turned toward the scar.
So we take the road it made for itself. It came up through the entrails of the mountains, from the place where they wait. Then that is our way down to them. We reach them beneath the stone, before they reach a people whose fathers cast down the mightiest empires of the old world.
We find where it came up.
No need, Çekim of the Ka-Ergen.
She raised one gloved hand over the crater and drove it down. The burnt ground came apart the way rotten cloth comes apart. A crimson seam splitting the crater floor, black rock lifting and turning at its edges, red light spilling up through the ash. Beneath it, the burrow lay open, running down into the mountain. They all moved into the opening. The hole in the crater floor did not look like a doorway. It looked like a thing had been pulled out of the earth, and the earth had not closed behind it. No man among them had been under stone before. Cimmerians die in the open, in cold air, beneath a sky that does not care. They went down anyway, because the alternative was to stand in the snow and wait. The walls were smooth. That was the worst of it. Not cut, not hewn, pressed. The way soft ground is pressed by something too heavy to argue with. It ran downward at a steady angle, and it never once turned aside for rock. Whatever had made it had not gone around anything in its life. Sound did not carry. A man's boot came down and the noise died at his knee. They stopped speaking within the first 100 paces, and not one of them decided to. Above them there had been 300, and a fire, and old grievances loud enough to fill a bowl. Down here there was 7. None of it had followed them in. The sorceress walked at the back and did not speak. She had spoken freely at the scar in front of all of them about a people and their failings. She had nothing to say now. The Cimmerian did not notice. He was watching the dark ahead, which was the only thing he knew how to watch. It came across their road at the 80th pace, or the 100th, nobody counted afterward. A second burrow, wide as the first, running clean across theirs and away, not down, back. They had come beneath the mountain to find the thing that was coming for Cimmeria. It had gone under them while they walked, and it was going the other way. It was Morlana who put words to it, and she did not raise her voice to do it.
The old mind has played this well. It set us walking the road it dug, and let us thank it for the going. Yet it plays with what power it holds, no more than that. It reckoned every hand at this table, but one.
Çekim did not ask her which. He set his palm against the air beside him and drew it open. The dark came apart the way rotten cloth comes apart. Through the tear stood the slope they had come down that morning, the snow on it going blue with evening, and the light of the world above fell into the burrow and lay on the wet stone like something spilled. No man among them had ever seen daylight from beneath. Brack looked away from it. Vara did not. They went through. The Cimmerian last, as he had gone first, coming down. Morlana did not move.
I will hold the mouth of it, in case.
The Cimmerian stopped in the tear with the cold air of his own country on his face, and looked back at her. He did not ask her why. He never did. And that was the nearest thing to trust she had found in this country. Çekim went through last, and the tear closed behind him, but not all of it. He left a thread of it standing, a slit no wider than a hand, upright in the dark, with the blue of the slope still in it. She had not asked him for it. He did not look back to see whether she had noticed. And the tunnel was hers.
Ballo.
Ballo. Ah, spoken bare. No lord before it, no lord after it. Do you know, sweet champion, in all the spheres it is the only name that has never worn one? Say it again, Vallyron. It is the only thing I am given to own.
No lord, and no lord's servant. Chaos keeps you and cannot own you. In all the spheres there is not one scale that has found a pan to weigh you in.
You do me too much honor, Vallyron. I am a jester. Jesters are permitted everywhere. It is the single dignity of the office. Arioch calls for thee. He would have me say it prettily with the confetti on it. I shall not. The door that remains for you to reach is the one you have always known to reach. Always.
He told her nothing.
I have been called before, in other flesh, under other suns, by lords who wanted precisely this, and dressed it in better words than yours. Then wait eternity for the call.
As you please, sweet champion.
He grinned. Then he was not there. A step taken in one dark and finished in another, and nothing between worth a man's memory. 6 went into it, 6 came out. No man counted aloud, and every one of them had counted. What reached them first was not the smoke, it was the sound men make when they have stopped calling for help and begun only to make noise, and under it the screaming of women which did not break and did not fall away and did not stop. There was nothing left to decide. Not one of them spoke. They took the last of the slope at a run and came up over the lip of it, and they saw what had come to the hollow. They stood in it a moment. Men who have run a long way to arrive too late will stand like that and be ashamed of it afterward. She came up out of the smoke behind them, and none of them turned.
I ask pardon for keeping you, which assumes I was kept and that you noticed. Neither, I think, is true.
She did not stop walking. She came up level with Brack and Vara and looked at what they carried.
That steel of yours will bite men. It will not bite what is coming. Hold it out.
The working was brief. There was nothing to see of it.
Strike what you please now. Living or risen, it will take the edge as flesh takes it. And what is risen will not rise a second time.
Cimmeria.
The dead came down into the valley the way a nightmare comes down on a sleeping man, and the Cimmerians knew them for what they were in the single moment when knowing is no longer worth anything. They had come to the hollow 300 strong, carrying grievances 40 generations old. The dead took them the way winter takes cattle. There was no line to break, no charge to answer. There was only a cold accounting, done quickly, by a thing that had no need to hurry. And when it was finished, the survivors stood among their own kin, lying in the churned snow, and understood that they had never been in the fight at all. Among that people, trust is not given. It is driven into a man and into a woman when the certainty of the end hangs over him like a blade already falling. So the axe of one clan came to rest beside the shield of another that had cursed its name a day before, and not one word was spoken of it. What was left of the 300 locked itself into a last wall, and the wall held. It held for a space no man among them could have counted, and it was bought at a price they paid without argument. It was enough, for the son of Cimmeria was already coming down the slope, and the others were coming behind him. She reached them first. She did not look at the wall, nor at the men in it. She raised both hands, and an entire field of the onslaught came apart and was drawn out of the world, and the snow behind it lay bare and grey and empty, as though nothing had ever stood there.
This can be prolonged, or it can be ended. It cannot be both. There is a flea at the heart of this host that thinks a great deal of itself. We go to it. Everything standing here will stop standing.
She turned her head and looked at the crosser, and did not speak again.
End it.
Then she walked. She went out from the wall alone and did not hurry and did not stop. What came at her from the left she unmade on her left, and what came at her from the right she unmade on her right, and what closed on her from the front was gone before it reached the place where she would be. They came over their own ruin to get at her, in their hundreds and then their thousands, and it made no difference at all. She crossed that valley the way a woman crosses a room, and behind her the snow lay bare and steaming, and the banners went down into it one after another, and nothing rose again. Conan came after her along the road she had opened, and Yasmela came with him, and Zunara came at Yasmela's shoulder as she had walked at it since the hollow. They came up out of the smoke to the rock at the valley's end, and there they saw it, the thing that had brought all of this into their country, wearing the body of a living man the way a hand wears a glove, its two axes held out from its sides, waiting. And Morlana of the 1,000 Deaths stood before the old thing at last, and looked up at it, and found it very small.
Chaos accepts your payment, champion.
Cimmeria.